Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing the BMW Z4. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the BMW Pleasant Grove, Utah for giving me some time with this Z4. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you don't already know, the BMW Pleasant Grove does not charge any sort of markups on their cars, so if you're in a great deal on a BMW, reach out to them. Just ask for Joe and Brian. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the Z4 is a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 23 around town and then 31 on the highway, with power outputs being 382 horsepower and then 369 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the hood, this paint color is really good at showing off the lines. It looks cool. And then coming down below, we've got these really cool daytime running lights you guys can see there with the headlight. And then notice the trim's blacked out there on the side and also with the grille. And then you got the BMW logo there in the center. And putting it all together, I actually think the front end of the Z4 looks really cool. Coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 255/35/19 in the front and then 275/35/19 in the rear. When it comes to the wheels, then you guys can see the wheels all blacked out, and then you've got the red brake caliper with the M logo on it. This is really sleek how they designed the fender there, and you guys can see the venting on the side, and then notice the mirror cap blacked out. And then here's your full side view with the Z4, so you guys can see that cool roadster appearance. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock function or lock function, the opening here for the trunk as well. And popping into said trunk, cargo space is not massive, but it's kind of to be expected with a roadster like this. And when you're all done, just plop that down. You guys can see all the badges here on the back, and then look at the taillights here at the Z4. Pretty snazzy looking. Parking sensors there at the bottom, and then you guys can see with the exhaust tips there at the very bottom. Putting it all together, let me know what you guys think about the Z4 appearance. I'll show a top-down shot a little bit later in the video, but there's the top up. Now, taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see here, it's all soft touch. You got really nice stitching all throughout as well. Memory seats, we've got our window controls, mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, and they have blind spot monitoring. Now, the seats inside look pretty interesting with the stitching design all down the center. Then you got your M40i logo there. Pretty nice looking pedals. Got our light controls here as well. Now, taking a look at the steering wheel, I've got really nice trim all around. Paddle shifters here on the back for the 8-speed automatic. Heated steering wheel button on the steering wheel. We've got your M logo there down below. And then our Pro Tool controls here on the steering wheel, like our cruise control. It is adaptive, by the way. And I do like the stitching here on the airbag cover as well. So here's a gauge cluster, full digital gauge cluster. It's cool how it says Z4 M40i. But aside from that, pretty standard. You guys can see we've got the speed on the one side. You got the RPMs there on the other side. Then you got the map view there in the center. And then when you change the drive modes, it does slightly change kind of how the gauge cluster itself looks. And then in reverse, we have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And this has, you know, stuff like the automatic parking, backup assistant, all of that. So as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time is actually really good with this system, as you can see. I mean, press stuff and it happens pretty rapidly. Obviously, this isn't BMW's newest unit, but it's still a good system. Really nice material use on the dash. And then you guys can see we've got our heated seat controls here, dual zone climate. And then you've got your little preset buttons down below with your radio control. And Z4 on that little thing here. This is what we'll call our charging area, the wireless phone charging pad and all of that. Shifter here for the 8-speed automatic transmission. Then you guys can see you've got like your stability control here, parking sensors, auto stop start, drive mode select. And then we've got our little dial here for the infotainment system to control it. And this is to put the top-down parking brake. Then you got the center console with some cup holders and everything. It's pretty cool. And what is this? Oh, we got a little storage cubby. That adds to the practicality a little bit. And while we're on storage, we also do have a glove box. And well, now it's time to press this button right here. Windows will roll down. The sun's really bright. That was fast, honestly. And then here's what the Z4 looks like with the top down. Just like most soft top convertibles, it definitely looks a lot more attractive with the top down rather than the top up. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That is sweet. Again, it's got that cool roadster appearance. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to pricing, this one stickers for just under $77,000. Let's drive it. We'll talk about visibility before you set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. You can see the heads-up display now, hopefully. Both mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And I'm gonna roll up the windows to kind of mitigate wind noise. But we're gonna do top-down driving at the first portion of this video, and then we'll do top-up driving at the end. I'm sorry if there is some wind noise. I mean, yeah, I think you guys will understand. Maybe it'll make the video more immersive, so to say. But the Z4, pretty interesting car. Obviously this shares a lot with the Toyota Supra, but I can tell you, as someone who owns a Supra for a while and has reviewed a few of these Z4s, they are so different as a car. Obviously coupe versus convertible, I mean, that's a big difference, but just everything about the car, like, they sound slightly different, not as much as they did when they upon initial launch. They do sound slightly different, and they just drive so different. Like, this has a more like comfortable luxury kind of, again, like roadster. Obviously, when I say roadster, roadsters are more about the driving experience from like a, just like, it's hard to explain, but they're almost like tourist cars is the way that I look at them. Like, it's less about like the performance aspect and more about just like the cruising aspect. Maybe that's a good way to put it. And you can tell the difference with them. Suspension, like I said, it's comfortable with this. Steering's pretty good. Yeah, it seems like everything is, like on the Supra, everything's sharper, everything's kind of dialed back on this, where it's more about just relaxing and kind of just enjoying the drive overall. Some other stuff here with the Z4. Engine's got tons of torque, so you like just don't have to get into it. It's actually pretty, it's pretty sweet just how that all acts. Now I am going to pop it into the sport mode here. So we're in the sport mode here. Oh man, yeah, this thing moves. This thing moves, that's for sure. This inline six is such a legendary engine. So much torque. It's like one of the few engines that's underrated. Like, you just can't get enough of it. You really can't. Now I got the top up, so we'll get another little acceleration here. This thing is wicked fast. Wicked fast. Again, can't ever get enough of this engine. So to wrap things up here with the Z4, I think it's a really cool looking car on the outside, especially with the top down. Top down definitely helps out with the looks. Interior definitely is nice as well. Touch points are great. But some hot takes on this car. So first off, this provides obviously pretty much the same performance as the Supra, slightly less in certain circumstances because, you know, the top and everything adds weight. And it is more expensive by a pretty substantial margin. $76,000. I mean, you can get a nice Supra for under $60,000, brand new. So, you know, there is that. I mean, this paint color is pretty expensive though, so there is that part of it, as you know, in terms of the higher price on this. If you do more quote-unquote normal paint color, it's not going to be as, you know, it's going to bring the price down a bit. But overall, I think the Z4 is great. But like, for my pick out of the two, even though I don't think people are really cross-shopping them, I think that the Z4 buyer is a completely different buyer than the Supra buyer. But even though since they're built on the same platform rather, I am going to compare them. And my thing is, I still kind of dig the Supra, and the Supra you can now get with a manual, which makes it even more exciting. Manual in this would be really cool, because like, I mean, outside of the Miata, there's not really any other brand new manual convertibles you can get on the market. So let me know what you guys think about the Z4, but I mean, you can't go wrong with convertible fun in my opinion.